Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Undrafted Opinions, where we give you a different lens on the worldwide world of sports. I am Richard Wadia.
I'm Jacob Bullard.
And we are the Undrafted Opinions that you'll be listening to for however long this video is.
All right. You got there, I guess.
We have a bunch of awesome topics for you. We got the World Cup Matchday 3. We're going to talk a little bit about Sammy Sosa. And then we have our 2-minute minors for this episode. We didn't have one last episode, but it's all good. It's fine. But before you do that, or before we continue, go ahead and like and share and subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio version of this, go ahead and do the same thing. And know that we do a video and an audio version. So go ahead and check those out with the links down below. But let's go ahead and get started, Jacob.
Let's do it.
Last day of the group stages happened literally about a couple hours ago.
Yep.
We're recording this on the 27th? No, 28th? 28th. Yes. And obviously we saw those games. Well, I didn't see those games, but I saw highlights and I saw snippets. I mean, I got the gist of it.
You're a fake football fan.
One of those games didn't really matter out of all of them, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, starting from Group A, as we have done before, go ahead and check out those videos. It's already probably popped up. So go click them before you go to this one, and so you know what we're talking about, I guess. Or helps you understand where we're coming from. We had Russia versus Uruguay. Uruguay winning 3-0, and then Egypt and Saudi Arabia with Saudi Arabia winning 2-1. Obviously, the only game that mattered in this group was... Oh, actually, no, never mind. This is the only... None of these games really matter because both of them was going through. It just mattered that...
Oh, the placement.
Placement, yeah.
Yeah. Which is important if you look, especially if we look at the way the bracket kind of folded out. This game, maybe... They didn't... Obviously, this was the first game, deciding the first two positions on the bracket. So, I don't know that they would have known this going in, but the way it's played out, this game kind of was important. So Russia finally came up against a real team. That's all I can say about this game, with Uruguay smashing them 3-0. Uruguay were basically in control of this. It probably should have been 5 or 6-0. Maybe 1. I feel like Russia had a couple of decent chances.
Yeah, I mean 3-1 or something like that, or 4-1.
Yeah.
If you want to give Russia a goal, you're going to have to give Uruguay at least 2.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just luck. Yeah, it's Russia meeting a wall that they cannot climb. And I think they just realize, hey man, we got to the group stage. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
It was definitely a reality check, I think, because they did so well, 5-0 in the first game against Saudi Arabia, 3-0 or 3-1, I think against Egypt. So all the Russian fans a little hyped.
Overhyped.
This was definitely a reality check.
Yes.
This game they looked much more like the lowest ranked team in the World Cup than they had before. So.
Yeah. And then also too, I mean, position wise, I think they're obviously Portugal and Spain were the favorites to get out of the other one. Mm-hmm. And I think regardless, both of these teams are going to get a tough game in the next group stage, regardless of the spotting.
Yeah.
It's just you just want the better one to go against would be Portugal, but obviously you're still going to get a tough game.
Well, yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end, how the bracket kind of ended up playing out.
But yeah, I mean, moving on, we could totally kind of skip over the Egypt-Saudi Arabia game in a way because
consolation prize.
Yeah, it was just hey guys, participation award.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Maybe next time you can get out of the group stage. But yeah, moving on to Group B, we got Portugal that played Iran that was 1-1. And then we had Spain versus Morocco, which was 2-2. Mm-hmm. Both games had late goals.
Yep.
Portugal, I was okay, they're up 1-0. I'm not surprised.
Thought it was over.
Yeah. And that's what I assumed was. But obviously sloppy play at the end there.
Yeah.
And then Spain, Morocco kind of. I don't remember the goals, but I was okay, this is why I had Morocco as my sleeper pick because they can play a team.
A corner. The first one was a corner. And the second one, I don't remember the second one.
But going back to my sleeper pick, and this is why I think they played all their games to the best of their ability. They didn't look too weak in any of them, and that's why I felt I was let down in the total performance and end results of these guys. But it would have been cool if they would have got to squeeze that win in. and made it a little bit more interesting for the group with them being eliminated. But it would have been interesting because that meant if they would have played Spain versus Uruguay in the next round, would have been a little bit more interesting. Got a little bit more of an entertaining first knockout stage match.
Yeah. I feel Iran actually had a really good chance at the very, very end of their game against Portugal. They were clean through on goal, and like the guy put it in the side netting and not even on target. So they're gonna be frustrated. I think they had a really good opportunity. Had they put that away, winning that game 2-1, they would have knocked out Portugal, and actually finished top of the group. Actually, with the way that ended up playing out.
Yeah.
Spain. I think Spain was lucky to get through here. I'm not sure I don't remember off the top of my head what the goal difference situation was, but they could have been out on goal difference possibly.
I think it's like the lack of like the midfield, and like obviously NES is like it's coming over the hill, and like Sergio Busquets is just there. I don't know. I feel like, and then obviously those like weird mistakes that like the backline makes.
Definitely uncharacteristic at the back as far as like the mistakes that were made there. I think that I don't know. I felt that the Spanish midfield was fine. I think that they didn't have any width. Like they were playing Diego Costa up top, but I felt like they had no problem getting the ball to the box, but like there wasn't any service.
Yeah, so I mean, like that contributes to why Diego Costa is like, if you don't give Diego Costa some kind of service or some kind of ball fed in, or like you're having like, I mean, he can do some route one stuff, but like it's only if like he can only have so many of those chances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. So Spain finishing top on goal difference ended up being really big for them because they're on the right side of the bracket. So big missed opportunity for Portugal too, letting in that goal against Iran, but they were also lucky that they didn't give up 2 at the very end there. So, but it ended up playing out, even though it was a lot closer than we thought it would be. It ended up playing out as far as the positions, what we anticipated.
Yeah, what most people anticipated in this group for sure. Yeah. Moving on to Group C, we got Denmark and France that went 0-0, and then we had Australia versus Peru that went 2-0 for Peru. The Denmark game, I mean, you heard the French manager at the end of the game saying, they just came to show for like the 1 point, and that's so exactly. I mean, I can't like fault them for that. It's a smart move in the sense of like, you know, I don't know, because like I don't think they're capable of beating France, I guess. So I mean, it's like us playing against France sometimes, or a top level team. Like you know your weaknesses and strengths. I think once you get into the knockout stages, it's like a little strategy to get a 0-0 result, so you go into penalties and somehow win. Mm-hmm. So, you know, maybe this is just them practicing in a way against.
Yeah, I guess. So
I can't fault them for that. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I think Denmark playing for a draw was dangerous because Australia was not technically eliminated going into.
Yeah.
So I mean, had Australia beaten Peru, then Denmark could have been in trouble. But I think this Denmark-France game was the first. Like we made it all the way to Matchday 3 without a 0-0 draw. So this was the first 0-0 draw. This game was really dreadful. There was no one cared.
Yeah.
So it was pretty boring to watch.
Well, yeah, I think it's another thing to point out is like how France can't break a team down.
Feels that way.
Yeah.
Feels like a lot of the big teams
they've been lacking that a lot.
Can't just like find that last pass is what it feels like.
And then as a result of that, that's why you're seeing like the bigger teams lose like out of nowhere, or they're just not getting the results that they are like draws or just like, weird results.
Yeah. And then good for Peru again. For Peru anyway. It was like a consolation game and getting that 2-0 win. You know, good for them. I mean, because I think those were the first goals I think that they scored in the World Cup. So
point out, this is the only group I gotten right so far.
Oh, with France and Denmark.
Yeah, like
okay, that's right, because you had Morocco.
Yeah.
All right, Group D.
Group D. We had Argentina versus Nigeria that went 2-1, and then Croatia versus Iceland that also went 2-1. Big game for Argentina in this one. A lot of stress going on in the Argentina locker room. A lot of just it seems like there's always that one team every World Cup where just like the locker room chemistry is just not working, or just between coaches, between players, and this is Argentina will have that locker room for this World Cup. But I mean, the beginning of the game, you saw Messi like got everyone to a circle right before they walked out, and it was like basically I don't know what he said, but someone worked.
We better win this guy.
Yeah. So, but I wasn't. It's another thing because I went on to I think it was like a kind of funny thread on Facebook and talking about like the games, and some kid asked like which team would out of like the big three players would miss or was needed the most. Like Argentina was obviously Messi, Portugal was Ronaldo, and who was the other? Neymar for Brazil. And I was like, well, the easiest pick was like Portugal with Ronaldo, and like he was like, no, Messi for Argentina. I was like, that's because the problem is like when you have a system like that catered for Messi, like you can't really. It feels like I think Jimmy Conrad says it best. Like you can't play like Barcelona when you don't have Barcelona players in a way. When you only have one Barcelona player, you don't have the ability to like make those kind of passes and hold the ball that well.
Yeah.
In this game, you saw that very much. You saw Messi like they were just feeding him the ball, and that was like my one thing. I was like, why? Like obviously he's just getting swarmed. He's making bad decisions. Like you're forcing a player to make almost all the decisions in the game. It seemed like, and like how do you? I don't know. Regardless of the caliber of the player, I feel like you can't do that. You have to be able to distribute the ball a little bit better than that.
Yeah. What's most frustrating watching Argentina play, you were talking about them having like kind of the like kind of weird disrupted locker room for this World Cup. I'd say this is probably like the third World Cup, plus all the like Copa Americas and stuff like that. I think that what's so frustrating watching them play is that there doesn't seem to be a plan.
Yeah,
like they have. I almost feel like
pass the Messi and see what happens.
The coaching staff and maybe some of the players have bought into the fact that on paper they have the best roster. They're like, we'll figure it out once we get out there. Like, what's Iceland? What's Nigeria? Like, we'll figure it out. We have better players.
Well, the thing too is like, if you take Messi out of there, like you still look like Uruguay in a way. Like you still
have a much better team than Uruguay.
What I'm saying is like you have two strikers up top, and Uruguay's able to figure out a system to have those two strikers to be effective.
Yeah.
And then plus, even if you took Messi out, you still have Dybala right there, and that's what I'm saying. So it's
Dybala, Di Maria.
What the problem is like there's no system for them to be able like there's no plan.
Yeah.
And like if you don't have a plan, obviously you're gonna look bad, and you can even it goes back to like the qualifying. Like it's too even Messi when Messi's not there, they're still like where's Messi like in a way. It's like they're so desperate. And like when you don't have like a set plan, you're gonna fail.
I'm curious to see what would have happened had Argentina not won this game, because Marcos Rojo scored in the 88th minute or something super late. Of all people,
it's not Messi, it's not Higuain, it's not Aguero, it's Marcos Rojo.
Seriously.
Oh, dude, that was perfect.
Yeah. But like it was 2 years ago, the last Copa America. I think it was 2 years ago, the last Copa America, and like they got knocked out, and Messi basically retired from the international team. In the press conference after the game, it was pretty crazy. And then like he ended up coming back, and there was all this controversy and stuff like that. And like I'm really curious what would have happened. Like,
because I think
complete meltdown. I texted you and I said there was like moment of silence for Argentina as like a major footballing nation. Like if they lost this, I bet half of their team, like you would never see Messi again. You would never see Aguero again. Higuain. Half of their prominent players would have probably never played for Argentina again.
Well, the thing too is if Messi, like what the team would have looked like too, if Messi would have retired after that Copa America and seen what I think the players would have been like more open to playing, but like see what the Argentina would have actually looked like if they like, okay, Messi's not here, okay, let's figure this out. And I think they would have. But also, there's a lot of corruption going on. With the FA,
there's some underlying problems.
There's something going on.
It wasn't just purely like the results.
But I mean, it was a game that the penalty was a little bit questionable, I guess. Either some people saying like it was not, saying people it was. I'm gonna go with what the ref's decision was because they know what they're doing, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was entertaining. I liked it.
And I feel a little bit bad for Nigeria. I feel like they were one of the better teams that got eliminated. At least the most fun to watch.
I think their next World Cup is like it's gonna be their.
Yeah, I feel like all of their was it under 17 World Cup that they won.
Yeah,
that like they're still a little bit too young.
It would have been.
And this was them getting experience.
If they would have gotten through, I think it would have benefited them even more.
Yeah,
but I think this is like a big learning curve for them to to adjust for different teams. because I think they played it felt like they played everyone kind of differently with different personnel. I remember seeing like just everyone, not everyone getting swapped in, but it seemed like they know what they're doing. They're trying to adjust, but obviously they're just not getting the results that they needed.
Yeah. And then real quick, Croatia winning all 3 of their group games. One of the best looking teams I think so far, at least just very balanced, professional performances that they've put on. So
very much playing to what they got as well.
Yeah,
they're not trying to be someone they're not.
Right. Yeah,
and then they're not underselling themselves as well.
Yeah,
they're right in that sweet spot. Moving on to group, what is this one? E. We got Brazil that won 2-0 over Serbia, and then Costa Rica versus Switzerland with a 2-2 draw. I watched the highlights of this game. I don't think I really missed much. In the sense, like I know, like there's one early goal with Paulinho, and then the other one was it was a defender, right? No.
Yeah, it was a defender.
Not Moran. No, Thiago Silva. Yeah. So, I think the problem with Brazil and them not scoring as many goals is just I don't know. Like once they get into like the final third, I feel like they're confused.
Yeah, it's the same. Like we said earlier, it feels like a lot of the big nations are having trouble finding that last pass. I felt like basically the entire game, for as good as Gabriel Jesus is for Manchester City, I felt like he was never on the same page with anyone else on the field. There were multiple times where he kind of got in Neymar's way a little bit, and then there was also multiple times where someone slid through a pass and he hadn't made the run, and like they had expected him to make the run. So I felt that maybe, as much as I like Gabriel Jesus as a City fan, I think maybe having Roberto Firmino in there would have given them something different and maybe worked a little bit better.
Because like he hasn't made a start for this all 3 of the games, so you would have thought like maybe he would have gotten a chance to get a start.
Yeah,
but it seems like they're just gonna like keep it in this direction.
Yeah, it seems that way. So yeah, 2-0 seems like a good result. But I don't think they're playing as well as maybe their results have shown.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Serbia is really going to be kicking themselves for letting that Switzerland game slip. That was their. It turns out, like the way everything played out, that like that was they win that game, they're in, and losing that second game to Switzerland was really big for them. And I guess and the other game 2-2. Switzerland going through in second place. They kind of rode Shaqiri all the way home. So good for them.
Yep. I got nothing else to say about those. Okay. All right. Until we get into the knockout stages, I guess.
Yeah.
And then next we have Group F. We had Korea beating Germany 2-0, and then we had Mexico go down to Sweden 0-3, which is 3-0. The Korea game, like Germany again, like another like. I don't. I get like you're throwing all these guys forward, but like what? Like how? Like it's like straight counterattacks. I get like the whole game. You're getting frustrated, and I heard another announcer. I don't know who it was like they just weren't very patient through this whole tournament, through the group stages. It seems like, and I get like I mean Korea. Kudos to them because like they held their defensive shape pretty well like throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they knew what they were doing because like they saw the other 2 games are like these guys aren't very patient, so we just gotta wait until the very end of the game, have a good break, and that's what basically happened. Because Neuer, I don't know what the hell, I guess that's his style, whatever you want to call it, but it just like I felt like there was no midfielder for them that was just like a Schweinsteiger in a way. I felt like they were missing like a midfielder like that this World Cup that they needed.
Maybe, yeah.
Because, like, I mean, I feel
like a Khedira or something like that.
Well, Khedira, it seemed like he wasn't there. But then they took him off and brought on, who did they bring on? Gomez? Oh, Gomes? Mario Gomez?
Yeah, Gomez.
Oh, Gomez. And it's just like, now you have Gomez, you have Mueller, and then you have Werner up at the top. Like,
yeah.
I feel like there was, like, another thing, too, is, like, they didn't have anyone go out wide for them. That's why I'm saying, like, Sane, like,
Timo Werner was playing left wing for them. Basically this whole tournament, and like Timo Werner is not a winger.
Yeah,
he is a center forward for Leipzig, and I don't know. It just he did. I feel like Timo Werner did okay. I think the best player that I think should have started this game, maybe even over Timo Werner, or at least move Timo Werner into the center, was Julian Brandt.
Yeah, Brandt.
I think Julian Brandt had a really good showing in this tournament, but like he was just on as a sub. And he's like the post, I think, in the second game and the third game.
He's like the most like natural winger for them too.
Right.
And it doesn't like that's what I'm saying. This lineup just lacked like a guy that they could have like started or.
They had all these guys piled in the middle, like Royce and Muller and Cruz.
Yeah, because you're not going to have
Gundogan when he was
Ozil's not going to go wide.
Mesut Ozil, and that was another thing. They brought in Mesut Ozil into this game when he was not. He had not played in the previous game for partly stylistic, partly political reasons.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It was another. There were like too many people tinkering in the middle, and not enough. No one wide really that was getting the job done. The more, like every game that I watched with Germany, the more I thought that they could have used Leroy Sané. I think they'll regret not bringing him with
even
them.
like what's the guy from is it Sam from Leverkusen?
Oh yeah.
Like even bringing it just you got so much depth in the middle. Like bring some guys out wide.
Did they bring Bellarabi? I don't remember if he was on the roster or not, but that's another guy that could.
No, Bellarabi's the one I'm thinking about.
Okay,
yeah. Sorry.
He's another one that could have helped them, I think, on the other end.
Yeah, because you're not going to break a team down.
They just had too many people going through the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were unlucky not to have scored. Mats Hummels had multiple clear headers, and Gomez was poor playing center forward for them. There was a couple times where like he cut off Marco Reus, and it really felt like they could have done with someone better up top. I think Timo Werner should have been that person up top.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, because Gomez doesn't make any sense the way
it felt like almost like when you see Olivier Giroud come on for like Arsenal or Chelsea now. Like that's what it felt like with them bringing him on, like someone that's going to win headers. But like he whiffed on like a clear chance. He had like a low cross come in, he completely missed it. Cut off Royce a couple of times. It was just really, I'm sure, like frustrating for them. Obviously, this is the first time that Germany has failed to make it out of the group stage in the World Cup history. So yeah, we'll have to see kind of what happens from here. And then Mexico, very fortunate to make it through with the Korea beating Germany. Mexico getting absolutely hammered by Sweden.
Well, the first goal made sense. The second goal was a penalty, made sense, and then the last one was an own goal, which bad luck. Bad luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Mexico was fortunate. But I'm like. I think this was like the first team Mexico like really, really played.
I guess
because with Germany in the sense of, like it didn't seem like a German team.
Okay, fair enough.
Like
they weren't playing well.
Yeah, and like their organization or like the way their style was playing, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and they got caught on the break a lot. So like I felt like with that said, like you can't just like rely on being on the break all the time. And Sweden played well, and I'm happy for them. I felt like they're a team that's like not underrated, but they're. The way they got here, the way they've been playing this tournament, I think they deserve to get through. And I think people should have them in a higher regard without Zlatan. I think they should be given credit for that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this was a big showing for them without having Zlatan, and I think it also kind of makes me feel better about Italy not being here, that Sweden actually made it out of the group.
Yeah.
Because Sweden were the ones that knocked out Italy.
Exactly.
Round, so.
Yeah, and they like I said, they're not underselling themselves. They're not overselling themselves. They're in the right sweet spot for where they are. They don't look as strong, obviously, like a Croatia. But if they continue to play with that kind of style and kind of zone of where you need to be, then who knows next round. So moving on to Group G, the last group of the group stages. What there was?
Group H.
Oh wait, there is. Oh my bad. Sorry. Well, Group H, whatever. Anyways, Group G, Belgium won 1-0 versus England, and then Tunisia played Panama in a game that didn't matter at all, and then won 2-1 over Panama.
Yeah.
I mean, the Belgium game, I literally, I just got off work, so I just barely watched the clips.
No one wanted to be there.
Yeah. I mean, Januzaj had an awesome goal. I kind of like feel like, man, what the hell, man, Jesus, let that one go.
Another one that slipped. Another United prodigy that slipped.
Well, it's because he didn't fit the system.
Does anyone fit Marina's system now?
No. But yeah, I mean, Belgium is a better team. I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Although I think that these were really like B teams.
Yeah, they basically played the bench.
Yeah,
get some playing time.
And I think if you were to ask the England fans, I think about 75% of them would say that they're okay with this loss just because of the way the bracket kind of crumbled. England didn't really have anything going forward. I felt they played Jamie Vardy over Harry Kane, so that was, you could really tell their intentions just from that. Nothing against Jamie Vardy.
Well, same thing on Belgium side with Matchday over Lukaku. So like, there's like definitely was like when I saw like just through the highlights and seeing whose names were being called, I was like,
yeah,
who are you playing the youth squads here? What's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But England, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold had a pretty good game. But other than that, not a lot going for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they both realized like Group H, they have good chances in their draws, regardless of like not that I don't think Colombia is a good team, but I think they're not afraid, and I feel like England, when we get to the knockout stages, I'll explain all that.
All right.
But I mean, Panama losing, what's new?
Yeah, Panama and Tunisia, both of them had already been eliminated.
I don't want to be a dick, but they shouldn't have been there. But it's what it is.
Should have been us losing 2-1 to Tunisia.
I've been fine with that. Last group, Group H. We had Japan lose to Poland 1-0, and then we had Senegal that lost to Colombia as well 1-0. The most interesting way to get through a tournament happened today, and I've always we always talk about like the scenarios like this sometimes, and like it actually kind of happened, which is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Poland. I didn't watch the game, but I think a defender scored. Right? Was that set piece? Maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was watching this. So part of the problem with this part of the tournament is that the games are on simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I was watching the Colombia-Senegal game. But yeah, I think it was the defender that scored for Poland. Poland getting 3 points again. They had already been eliminated prior to this because they had no points going into this last game.
Super disappointing. Thanks, Poland. Thanks, Lewandowski. Anyways,
yeah,
but I mean, they beat Japan. But this group is like everyone just punched everyone in the face in this group, literally. Japan beating Colombia, and then Poland beating Japan, and then Senegal beating Japan. No, beating Poland. Yeah. So it was weird how it all worked.
Yeah.
And then the most interesting part, obviously, Colombia went through clean and everything, but the way Japan got through over Senegal, they had same points, same goal differences, and then it went down to...
I had this in the 2-minute minors, but we should probably just talk about it right now.
Yeah, might as well.
FIFA introduced what's called fair play points, starting in this World Cup as like kind of the final tiebreaker. So basically, it's like they look at fouls called against you, yellow cards, red card accumulations, stuff like that, and like, they rank you based on like the number of times, the number of fouls you commit, number of yellow cards you receive, stuff like that. And so Japan had fewer than Senegal, and so therefore Japan went through. And I have to say, like me personally, this really sucks, and this should not be a thing. I think there aren't any games tomorrow, so I feel like they should have. I think maybe they should have met somewhere or like gone to where the next game was going to be for like whoever moved on, and like had penalty kicks, like even if it's the next day. Like this just feels wrong. I would rather there be a coin flip than this because it's subjective. Like the games had different referees. Some referees are like more lenient than others, like as far as cards are concerned.
I can be down with the penalty shots. That would make more sense to not, because I mean if you play a whole game you're gonna be wasted for the next one. Even though
right, yeah.
But
and you can't play another game right after having just played this one.
Yeah, I would say the penalty shots make the most sense. But yeah, the fair play ones like that. Yeah, what you're saying, it's subjective. It would have been interesting if like for some reason the results had that, but they were playing the same game for some reason.
Oh yeah, I think it would be a lot easier to do penalty kicks if they were playing each other.
Because I would be like, nah, just keep going. We're going extra time. Like, but yeah, I mean, it sucks, but I think this is something they're going to be talking about again, and they're going to have to maybe reform, or they're just going to keep it the way it is.
I think they need to rework it. So, I don't know that they will, because FIFA doesn't do things based on what other people want.
Yeah.
But this, if I was Senegal, I would be a little upset.
Yeah, definitely. But it's not like it's also. I mean, then you would have to change your style of like not fouling then after this, basically. But that's if you're in that situation, which is like, how often are you gonna be ever in that situation?
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we gonna do about it? It is what it is.
Yeah.
But moving on, we are gonna get into the next topic, which is not a political topic, but it's about Sammy Sosa and his comments with Sports Illustrated. Do you want to read the quote? Or do I have to read the quote?
I'll read the quote if you want. So Sammy Sosa recently, within the last, I think it was yesterday, as of recording, Sammy Sosa had an interview with Sports Illustrated talking about like his relationship with the Chicago Cubs and like what he's doing now, like kind of like general. It kind of covered everything. But one of the things that came up, so this is a quote from Sammy Sosa. It says, "I passed Ernie Banks for most home runs in Chicago Cubs history. He has a statue and I have nothing. So what the bleep?" So this has obviously made the rounds on a lot of other like this made sports news basically, like his quote. So like what do you think of what he had to say?
It depends. I should probably read the whole interview, and if his intentions or anything else besides this interview where his intentions of him saying that is because of like a racial bias, I think it's BS. Because of the fact that he was in the club of needles and injecting themselves with
that was
stuff.
I believe if I remember correctly in this article, I guess I probably should have put more in here for a little bit of context, but the question that came before was about steroids, and he was saying like he never tested positive for steroids, like no one's ever proved it.
And another thing
that's
too
what
is
he was
like
talking about.
Like he wasn't ever tested obviously, but he also had the cork in the bat as well.
That I'll get to that when
but like you can clearly see this dude, and there's a lot of guys that got away. I mean, there's probably guys that have gotten away with it in the past that we don't know about.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to prove it. I mean, there's all like
it's also a different way of like the way they were testing back in the day is different from nowadays too.
Oh, yeah.
So they were able to get away with a lot more stuff back then.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I mean, he's gonna be in that kind of just group of players,
right? Yeah,
and he's not. I mean, if he's complaining too, I mean, look at his Hall of Fame votes right now. Yeah. So it's like, obviously, there's something wrong here. You need a, even if he came out and said something like, "Oh yeah, I did," but like, regardless, like, I don't. If that's what he's saying, the reason why he's saying that is because like, I don't know what country is he from.
I do not know. I don't remember.
Maybe it's like Puerto Rico.
I was gonna say that or Dominican.
Yeah, but if he's saying it because of that, then that's BS. That's totally not what it is. It's steroids and the cork in the bat. I mean, it's simple as that.
I definitely didn't get that vibe from him that it was anything like racially charged.
But I'm saying though, if it is though, like that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's not a reason why it's been blown out of proportions, but with today's media, so someone's gonna be like, oh yeah, like they're gonna draw some kind of line there, and that's art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So like I
see what you mean.
That's my take on it, because like I mean, baseball doesn't care about baseball doesn't care about. I think today, especially from a certain period, I don't know what period you want to start from, but like. There's no racial bias going on in baseball, dude. Like, the teams are trying to put out the best teams that they can possibly put out, and they don't care what color skin you are or what what dialect or not what dialect, what language you speak. It's also it just matters if are you gonna help us win?
Yeah.
And him to say this is like, I think it's kind of messed up to say to like the Chicago Cubs organization. I think it's also I feel like it's a little bit of an insult to Ernie Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And we can even get into like Barry Bonds breaking like Hank Aaron's record, because we know about him, and
another guy that has never been proven to have taken
but
steroids.
that's the problem. Like that's the thing we're never gonna know. We won't ever know, honestly. Yeah. But the thing is like, dude, come on, man. Like, look at yourself, really. And like the Jose Canseco. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I feel like. First off, there's only one person in the world who's known as Mr. Cub. His name is Ernie Banks. So I'm pretty sure the Mr. Cub is allowed to have a statue almost regardless of career accomplishments or anything like that. He will forever be associated directly with the Cubs. I think it's like performance-wise, obviously, like even with the steroids, Sammy Sosa was a great hitter. Like, taking steroids does not really improve your hand-eye coordination and like your technique and this, that, and the other.
Until you make contact with the ball.
Yeah, I guess, but it's still a very hard thing to hit the ball.
Yeah, but you still once you make contact, so
you hit the ball farther. Yes. I understand. But so basically what the Cubs have said is that they're willing to welcome Sammy Sosa back into the fold if he issues an apology for basically cheating, and that's what he's been unwilling to do. And that's kind of what they were talking about a little bit in this interview as well. Like, all the Cubs want is for him to apologize for. They're not even really requiring him to like admit steroid use. They just want him to say, all he has to do is say, "I'm sorry," and they'll welcome him back.
Yeah.
Into the organization, and he won't do that, so he's not going to get in. The Cubs have been pretty firm on that. And I think Sammy Sosa, as far as being part of like the Mitchell Report and the steroid kind of era in baseball, I think that he is a very special case because of the cork bat. And so at that point, I don't care. There were a bunch of people named in the Mitchell Report that later confessed to having purchased steroids, used steroids, human growth hormone, stuff like that. It's like, we kind of have enough people in that group that we know that the rest of them probably did as well. So like that includes Clemens and Bonds and Rafael Palmeiro and Alex Rodriguez and people like that. But again, what sets Sammy Sosa aside is the corked bat. The corked bat is the smoking gun. Like, no one snuck cork into his bat. That was a deliberate thing that he did. He made the decision to be dishonest and to deceive, and he made the decision to cheat. And like, that alone tarnishes, at least in my opinion, tarnishes his character, tarnishes his integrity. So like, I don't care about the steroids anymore.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they could announce, "Hey, we've proven that Sammy Sosa never used steroids," and I don't care, because he's already shown the willingness to cheat. He did that already. He tried that.
I think that sucks too. He was like one of my like top like 5 players that I liked growing up.
Oh yeah,
easily. Like, Griffey was number 1, but like him, I was just like, dude, I love the way you hit home runs and you just did the little hop thing. Mm-hmm. And like, it was very exciting that year with him and McGuire. But also, like, you look at it that way too. Like, look at McGuire, Sosa, Canseco, Palmeiro. They're not all the same races or anything like that either. So you can't just say like, oh, it's just because of my skin and my color, or the color of my skin. Sorry, that's me. Because like, if I was talking to this with like me and my dad, I think my dad would say the same thing too. I'm not saying like we're saying it from like a minority perspective or anything like that, but just like, that's probably what I feel like maybe. I mean, Ernie Banks is black too, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what I remember.
Yeah.
So thing.
Yeah. So he wouldn't really have a leg to stand on in that argument.
Yeah. But
like, maybe if that's what Sammy Sosa was.
Or maybe he's thinking because like he's not American or something like that either. So
I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, let us know in the comments what you guys think about the steroid era in baseball. What you guys think about Sammy Sosa and his interview with Sports Illustrated.
I'm not being racist, am I?
No.
Okay. I'm not like what I'm saying is like, I don't want this to be like a political thing. I just want this to be a straightforward, you're a cheater, that's why you're not getting it.
Yeah.
Or that's why they're not welcoming you.
And I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, nothing more. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying to other people on the internet.
I know.
I just pointed it out.
Okay.
Anyways, moving on. 2-minute minors.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We got the College World Series Game 3 going on right now, maybe? No,
I think it starts in a couple hours.
Okay. But yesterday, the finish of that game, I kind of watched it right before the Dodgers Cubs game that I watched for a little bit. But how? Well, I was talking to you, and then we were talking, and then like, you're like, "Oh, did you see the ending?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was kind of like how we watched the Fullerton Washington game, with the guy having no one caught the foul ball, and then
2 outs in the top of the 9th.
Yeah.
So
it seems like weird that like you would feel like that doesn't happen a lot, but like this year it's happened like a lot in like different levels of baseball.
Yeah,
which is kind of fun and interesting, so it makes it more entertaining. But like, I don't really have a say in the sense of like, I'm an expert in college baseball because like I only watch it during the World Series time. So, but yeah, hopefully it's entertaining. It catches more eyes. Because I think college baseball is entertaining. I think it's not pure.
I think particularly this College World Series and like the super regionals leading up to it, there have been a lot of pretty crazy stuff, like just walk-off hits, crazy plays, big walk-off home runs, stuff like that. I think it's been really good as far as kind of like the brand of college baseball this year in particular. I think going like for this last game, this Game 3 of the College World Series, I think losing a game in that manner might have an impact on Arkansas.
Yeah.
I think that just being that close, literally top of the ninth, 2 outs, and not catching that pop up in foul territory, that guy gets on, they score a run, and then the 2-run home run later.
They call it the curse of the beaver after that.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I think that sort of thing can have a carryover, so I think that at least the psychological advantage is definitely with Oregon State.
Yeah, they're confident.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the last one would be DC United signing Wayne Rooney. And then you even have the 2.5 years, $13 million. What's the complete on 7/10?
So the transfer window in the MLS, okay. The summer transfer window in the MLS doesn't open until July 10th. So it won't be completed until then. But they announced that it's basically already done.
Okay, cool. I'm not saying we're MLS is still getting another retirement players, yeah, but it brings eyes. The way I like when an MLS team signs a player like this, it brings eyes to the guys around in the squad that are doing well. Because when Clint came back to the Sounders, that helped out DeAndre. But even though DeAndre was already, I felt like he had a lot of potential. And the World Cup helped him out as well. But having that eye on there, I think it helps the players around the squad. I feel I don't know. I think it brings more attention to the league too.
It definitely brings more attention because Wayne Rooney is a really big name. Obviously, I'm a little bit skeptical of the move, kind of in general, though, especially given how his season went at Everton. I just don't know. Obviously, the level of competition is going to be a lot less in the MLS than it is in the Premier League, but I really don't think that Wayne Rooney has much left to give.
Yeah, I understand. I can see that. I feel like there's going to be games like how Zlatan's had this season where it's just whoa, there's going to be a crazy, he's probably going to have a bicycle kick. He's probably going to have one stupid goal where he just screw it, and he kicks it and it goes in.
Yeah.
And then he might have a free kick in there and you'll never hear again. Because with Zlatan, it's weird breaks where he gets a big game and then the next 3 games it's what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that at least for DC United specifically, that $13 million over 2.5 years is not too bad. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure what the Galaxy are playing or are paying.
Yeah, they're not paying Zlatan that much.
But
sure.
they'll make that money back just in jersey sales.
Yeah. Jersey sales, ticket sales.
Yeah. People will come out. Wayne Rooney is still a big enough name.
Yeah.
That people will come out. He broke the Premier League scoring record, didn't he?
I know he broke Bobby.
England.
He broke Bobby Charlton's Manchester United record.
I'm not sure if he broke Alan Shearer.
I don't think he did.
I feel like he did, but maybe he didn't.
Alan Shearer's a god, dude.
I know, I understand. But he scored a lot of goals.
I respect that.
He's probably at least number 2.
Choose Jordy podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, so so that's it for 2 Minute Miners.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. Let us know about everything you feel about this. About Sammy Sosa, about the Matchday 3 games that happened, and then our 2 Minute Miners. You can recommend topics in the comments down below, or you can hit us up on Twitter and say, hey, I want you guys to talk about this. We'll do it, I guess, maybe, if it's cool. I don't know. Yeah. If my mom lets me, you know what I mean? But yeah, so go ahead and share, subscribe. Know that we do a YouTube and an audio version. So if you're listening on either of those, know that we do that as well. And then we do clips versions of them as well. We'll cut it and we put them out on their own besides the full videos. But yeah, I've been Richard Rodillo.
I'm Jacob Boyd.
And this has been Undrafted Opinions, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.